from the tube. Welcome back to another Pancho thing. What's going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another Pancho things. What is going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another Pancho things. What is going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another Pancho things. What is going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another Pancho thing. What is going on, people from the tube? Welcome back to another Pancho things. I don't know how many times I tried this for this one video. So yeah, it's been quite a journey just to try to get into this dog trout. I tried so many different techniques. I tried so many different lures. I tried so many different types of baits. I cannot say I wasn't successful. I did catch a couple of fish. It wasn't what I was expecting to happen. On this day, I was fishing a lake that I fished last year. Unfortunately, the spot that I was sitting on was exactly where the guy pulled up with the truck to start the trout. And by the time that he dumped all the trout kind of opened up and fanned up out. They didn't stay on that hole where it was exactly where I was sitting. By the time that happened, I gave him a hand trying to dump the trout. By the time that everything was said and done, it was shoulder to shoulder everywhere else. So I kind of had to move around, and some people were cutting them in one end, some people were cutting in the other one, and it was kind of discouraging to a point because I was throwing the same exact thing that some people right next to me were throwing in the same exact holes, and they were catching and I wasn't. So it was a journey. I gotta say, the first day I fished for 12 hours. The second day I went fishing again early morning, and it turns out that it was freezing rain, super cold. I caught a couple that day, but it took pretty much 6 to 8 hours to catch them. Like it was gnarly. And then I went to another place where they stocked them. Unfortunately, I got there really late and it was dead, really dark. And I only caught one. I didn't have that much time. I had to leave the park because they were closing. So I was able to only catch one. But hey, that was what it was. But I'm here because I want to show you a little bit, go over all this footage because it's hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of footage. So I'm going to condense everything as much as I can. And the first day, as I mentioned, this is the day. This is where they dumped the trout. And then you're going to see me fishing different points and different spots on this fishery. And nothing happened. I couldn't catch them on power bait. I couldn't catch them on lures. I couldn't catch them on anything. I just didn't have luck. Second day is this day coming up here, and I fished. It rained, stopped. The rain stopped, and finally I was able to catch a couple of them. And it's kind of tricky because some of these areas, if you don't know where the deep pools are, you kind of miss out, because once they drop those trouts, they kind of like go and school up into a pool and they stay there for a while, for a few days, then they start moving around. But if you don't know exactly where those pools are, you can cast all day, but you're not gonna find them. So couple other days I went to the same fisheries and no luck whatsoever. So then I decided to go to a river, and that river was my last fishing day, or at least the last day that I went fishing, which was this past weekend. And beautiful place, beautiful river, beautiful area. But once again, I struggled with the exact area where the fish were. And by the time that I figured out where the pool was, that pool was overtaken by people, and I couldn't get there to try to catch. There were people catching them, but I just wasn't lucky enough. So that's pretty much what went down. But more importantly, I wanna talk about the techniques that I use, what I use and how I use them. And I want you guys to give me your point of view. I want you to tell me what you would have done different, what type of these techniques you would have used differently, and why, you know. Uh, it's quite different when you are in a stagnant body of water versus something that is moving, that it has a current, and versus something that has a lot of current. You kind of have to adapt to all of that, and sometimes one technique doesn't work as great as other ones. So we're gonna go over that a little bit, and I hope to hear your two cents on these and what ended up happening. But as I mentioned before, I fished a lot. I put a lot of hours trying to fish these guys, and I think I came home with three or four. I think like through three or four throughout the entire process of this. So yeah, not easy. I ended up breaking a rod. That was at the river, and this is the footage of that. I ended up breaking my Google Squad rod. I was lucky to, by the time that I came back home, I found the same rod. It was kind of discounted, so I bought it again because it's actually a decent rod, at least compared to everything else that I have. Uh, but we're gonna talk about quite a few things here. So let's start with the rod selection. Um, can you catch a fish with any rod? Yes, it is. Yes, you can. Here's the thing. I keep hearing, everybody talking about, you want a light setup, a light setup, light setup, light setup, and I couldn't understand the reason why, because I have caught trout and other fish, small penfish, with my medium rods. And it wasn't until I got to the river, that we had the current and everything, that I realized that my sensitivity was really off. I couldn't feel much with a light tackle. When you have that light tackle on a moving water, like a river, I couldn't feel the bottom. So I didn't know, am I bottom yet? At how far of the bottom I am? Like, is the distance that I have from my weight to my floating bait in this case, or my hook, is it proper? And I struggled quite a bit trying to feel where things were, and I lost a lot of lures, and I lost a lot of setups that way, and that's how I ended up breaking the rut. Is even that it's not necessary to have a light rod. Now I understand the reason why you'd rather go with a light setup like that, and it's because it increases your sensitivity, increases your chances of knowing is something biting. Am I getting stuck somewhere? Am I on the bottom? Am I moving with the current? And what is happening? Logically, you can always follow your line and keep an eye on your line, and the line is going to tell you what's happening. But the sensation and feel of the rod um, kind of me messed up. So I'm gonna be doing some more trout fishing, but I'm acquiring a lighter rod just so I can compare to what was happening with my medium setups, and see if I can feel more of a difference, and I can be more accurate on everything that I'm doing with the technique that I might be applying at the moment. So that is for the rod. As I said, I'm not the type of guy that I want to have 30,000 rods, but unfortunately, for certain things, you gotta have the right setup. Once again, doesn't mean can you catch them with something else? Yes, of course you can, but it's extremely helpful if you have something that it can help you dictate what's happening with your presentation at all times. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is the multitude and insane amount of things that you can use for trout. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what I use. This doesn't make justice because I have so much stuff. I got so much stuff. And some of them worked, some of them didn't. Some of them would have worked if I would have been in the right spot, guaranteed. Some of them might not. But I'm going to show you the things that I got and the technique that I used them and how I used them, and then start talking about it. So, first, the almighty power bait. I had it in different colors. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I started fishing with Matt back in California, and we went crazy. We bought an insane amount of stuff. So I bought power bait back then, and turns out that I might have not sealed the lid properly. They were sitting in the elements outside the garage and stuff, and it went bad. So I had to go and get me some more. So power bait. So the almighty power bait, chartreuse, pink, salmon egg. Power bait worked. Most of the fish that I caught them with power bait. More likely because these fish are fund raised. They are used to eating pellets, so this type of presentation is kind of like intuitive for them. Couple of things. I read these in a couple different ways. All my setups are braided fluorocarbon line as a leader. So I had fluorocarbon to a 6 pound test leader. So the first presentation, the first way that I did it was on my leader, pinch weight, about a foot, maybe a little bit less than a foot, hook, power bait though, catch a couple of that. Then, when I was in the river though, that I had way more current, I felt that I was getting stuck and I was losing a lot of hooks and a lot of the lines. So one thing that I found out, and I saw somebody do before, was to do a form of Carolina rig, which is braid, leader, a barrel swivel, hook and stop, weight and a stopper before the swivel, and then from the swivel, line, hook, and power bait. Didn't run with much luck with that. Now, I had to go back and forward with the weight because I kept getting jam and pancaked into rocks and stuff like that. Now, the cool thing was, anytime that I had to put pressure, I will only lose the line with the hook versus the entire rig or the entire bunch feet of fluorocarbon. So that was handy that way. Didn't catch anything that way, and it's kind of tedious. Now, once you set it up, it kind of is set up there, but it's kind of tedious having to set it up that way. Now, beneficial is that line moves through the weight, and it floats better. You can put a stopper, and the weight will stop there, and the line will no longer move. So you can kind of dictate and manage how much distance you want your bait presentation from the bottom. Now with the river it was kind of tricky because there's rocks, there's a lot of stuff happening at the same time. It's kind of difficult to know if that distance is the proper distance, if that makes any sense. So, but it worked for getting snagged and not losing an entire amount of bunch of feet of fluorocarbon. It does work because it will break on the end of the swivel versus breaking from the knot in between your braid and your fluorocarbon. So that worked. Didn't catch a fish that way. Not because it might not work. It's just because I wasn't in the right spot where the fish were biting. But it is more work. Another technique that I used was jigging, and I used the trout magnet jigs. These things look phenomenal. These things looks like if you put them in front of a fish, they will go for it. Like it looks nice and it's really well made. It has, I don't know if you call this feathering, but I'm gonna call them feathering. I don't know what, or skirt. I don't know how you guys call this, but there it is. Really small hook, really tiny weight. I'll say that these things probably like a 1/32 of an ounce. A nice feathering, and it's really tiny hook, but they look phenomenal. I'm pretty sure that if you put this thing in front of where the fish are, you will not have a major problem getting this fish to bite. So with these, the way that I used them was just like a regular jig. So tied up into my leader and just bounce them off the floor. I swam them around. I think that once again, if I would have been in the right spot where the fish were congregating, I would have a way better luck. They look phenomenal in the water. So jig action. Didn't cut anything with the jig. I did other jig action, and even that this is more set up for crappie, I use these little guys. So these are like little tiny swing baits. So I use a really tiny, they're really small. It's about an inch and a quarter, if anything. They're purple and it has some sparkles. I use this with a 1/32 jig, and they look phenomenal in the water. Swimming around, I bounced them around. Once again, I was not in the right spot. Didn't get anything with those guys either. What else did I try? Trout magnets: pink, green, orange, white, black, reds, yellows, chartreuse, browns. Tried everything that I could with these guys. This is what I used to catch all my trout last season, and they worked like a champ. Like literally, I limit out within 30 minutes, 5 fish, easy. This year, not even one bite on these guys. Atomic teasers, it's just like a little jig that is already hooked with a plastic and it have a little trailer. Caught quite a few bluegills with this thing. Not a trout. They work. I was just probably not trying the right place. Then I did a couple of different. I did with these little micro worms. I did. I did a couple of things with these guys. I tried them. I tried them as a wacky worm. I float them. I kind of Texas rigged them on a little jig. I put them in different presentations, floating. They're really nice. Now, I found that with these ones, I had to put an extra weight up on the leader just so I could have a little bit of distance and a little bit of weight, mostly in current. In current, these things will just rush with the current because they're super, super light. But I tried these guys, and orange, pink, and white. Wasn't able to catch anything with that. I did try these guys, and this one provided a bite, but it was only one bite, one time. And after that, I didn't get anything. This is for Mr. Crappie. This is a 1/16 of an ounce shiner. And it's just a little jig with a feather in black, and black kind of blue. This thing actually going down. I felt the bite. I wasn't strong enough when I set up the hook, but these produced a bite almost immediately. Now I have a feeling that the fish moved around because of the amount of pressure, and by the second cast, the fish was no longer interested. This is from trout magnet too, and it's just like a little baby crawfish. Tried them. Unfortunately, on both places that I was fishing, there was a little bit of water movement, and this didn't help too much. But I'm pretty sure that put them in the right place at the right time, that thing will just slaughter some fish for sure. Here's where things get interesting. So, inline spinners, spoons, and rooster tails. I cast an insane amount, and what I'm going to show you right now is what is left of everything that I lost. Green, yellows, and blacks, rooster tails, white, silvers, and blues, pinks, white spoons, regular spoons, color spoons, silver spoons, gold spoons, chartreuse and copper, rooster tails. I threw an insane amount of that. Spoons on colors and regular, you name it, I threw it. And I gotta say, on moving water with the spinners, spoons, anything with treble hooks on moving water, fast moving water, or somewhat fast moving water, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. I lost a lot of lures. Or I either got hung up on rocks, or I either couldn't feel how much depth if I was touching bottom or not. So that's why I was like, okay, I didn't want to buy into the whole game, but I was like, I'm gonna need something lighter. I'm gonna need something lighter that I can work and figure it out. That I can feel what's happening at all times with the bait in the presentation. So I'm getting a light rod. I'm not going ultra light. I'm going light, and we're gonna give it a try. It's nothing expensive, nothing crazy. It's not like it's just a light rod with a fast action. The power bait is what is being working the most. And once again, this is stock trout. This is farm raised trout. So they eat pellets. So they're gonna focus on that now. It's interesting because everything that you see that I showed you, plus an insane amount of other stuff that I have in there, I have used right next to people that are using the same thing, and they're catching them, and I'm not catching them. Now, this much difference in between where they're congregating and schooling down. If this person is casting here and they're congregating and schooling down here, and I cast here, I'm not going to be able to get the same amount of bites, or if anything at all, than this guy. So understanding and knowing where these fish are is kind of like key. And one thing that I noticed, a common denominator that I noticed on these trips, is that all those fish were dumped in an area and they will congregate in a deep pool close to the area where they were dumped for days, tops a week, and then they will dissipate. They will spread out. But within the first 3, 4, 5 days, they are in pools that are deeper than the rest of the shallow area where you're fishing. So if you can identify those areas, then and you can get into those holes before somebody else and put the right presentation at the right height, you catch them. Like, I cannot believe the amount of fish that people were catching around me. And they're like, hey, cast here, and I'm using a white rooster tail. And I was like, a white rooster tail this, and nothing. Or I'm using a spinner, this, I'm using a jig here, and we will communicate and talk, and sometimes they will be nice enough to be like, hey, cast here, I'm gonna just take a break, you wanna cast here? And you will move and cast, and you will get a bite or two. Unfortunately, the person will come back and do the thing, so you will move to your other area. So the location is extremely important. And understanding the sizing of what you're presenting to this fish. For the river is kind of tricky because you gotta find out a way to, or either work the current with your bait and make sure that you are casting away from the fish and getting the presentation to keep the fish on top now on the right level of the water column, or you gotta understand how much movement do you have and how much weight do you need to keep that bait steady. In the case of the power bait, to keep it in the one spot without letting the current move, which is really difficult to do because it's water, it's moving, and you cannot see what's going down. And on top of that, you cannot feel properly what is happening. It is a gamble. So yeah, this has been my struggle with the stock trout fishing. But the fight ain't over. I still have couple more chances to keep fishing for the trout. They're going to be restocking, and but now I know where those pools are. I know kind of like what the fish are doing, so I got more of a grasp and understanding of what's going on. But it's really interesting. It's really crazy. Now, what I consider was a myth, and I don't want people to misunderstand this. It's not that I'm up commercialization. I'm up for commercializing, and I'm up to people marketing the products. It is what it is. But sometimes I feel that there's too much of a high pitch of like upsell for what it really is. But in the case of having the right rod for the right circumstance, and more in this case, yes, you need a light rod that can help you more if you're not a great fisherman like me, where you're still learning and you're still processing things. It helps greatly to be able to know: am I on the bottom? Am I on top of a rock? Am I on the side? And you can get a lot from the sensitivity of a rod. You can tell a lot of what's happening down there by feeling. So with this whole experience of this fiasco, which once again, it's not a fiasco. I learned. I broke a rod. I replaced that rod. Now I'm having to buy a lighter rod because I have a feeling that if I know exactly what's happening, and I can get maybe not on top of the fish like everybody else is, but get close enough to them, with not intervene with their fishing, but get close enough to get a bite logically, respectfully, and talking. Like, it's not like I'm just going to sit right next to somebody, just walk in and just start casting. Respectfully asking, hey, do you mind if I get a little bit closer because I know the fish are there, whatever. For the most part, if you're nice and you come in the right way, people are gonna help you out. So I'm gonna still keep grinding with this trout because I wanna do a couple of recipes for you guys, but I need more fish. I only have 3 or 4, so I need more in order to do all the recipes I want to do. So I'm gonna keep grinding. This weekend is gonna be a heavy one, and next weekend also. So, but then we have white bass coming, and right after the white bass, we're getting the crappie. I still yet to catch a crappie or taste it. So I'm gonna focus a lot on that. But this has been a struggle, guys. Not very much luck. Didn't many days I got skunked. Many days I got rained on. But I learned a whole bunch of it, and I acquired a ridiculous amount of lures and bait and stuff. But this is how you learn. So here we go. Thank you so very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell so you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. Keep posted. There's a lot of more fishing coming. I wanted to have one full video that I could show you what I have accomplished, but like, it's been so crazy that this is the only way that I can put something together to show you guys what I've been going through. So stay posted. If you want to help out the channel, go to panchothings.com, snatch you a t-shirt, snatch a couple of stickers. I ran out of my ammo bags. I gotta make some more of those, but the ammo bags are all sold out. So I gotta make some more of those. But if you want to support the channel and help out for me to be able to bring more content to you, please go to that panchothings.com, snatch your t-shirt, stickers, and I will see you in the next one. Pancho out.